Monoclonal antibodies are highly promising as tools for therapeutics and drug discovery research. Abgenix Incorporated of Fremont, California, specializes in the discovery, development, and production of high-affinity antibody therapeutics for itself and its partners. Abgenix recognized the need for quality antibody production capacity in this intensely competitive market. The company committed to an automation project that would add integrated capabilities in process science and manufacturing.
You got to be the first kid on the block. And what does that mean? Okay, you got to be the first kid on the block to discover the drug, get it out on the market, become a commercialized company.
This new infrastructure would expand the company's development activities and allow Abgenix to form strategic product development partnerships with other therapeutics companies.
So when we put together our capacity strategy for the facility, we specifically added extra capacity for those partners.
The project design called for a new state-of-the-art 100,000 square foot, 12,000 liter scale, multi-use, multi-project processing facility with 2 separate parallel cell culture and recovery suites. Project success in this market required an accelerated timeline. Working within that timeline presented major challenges.
The schedule never moved. The schedule stayed cast in stone to the date that they wanted. And it was up to us to make sure that we had everything on site and running by that date.
And I felt that it was unlikely we were going to do it that fast, just based on previous experience.
To meet the challenges of this timeline, Abgenix needed an experienced, world-class process automation partner with the right balance of technology and industry expertise.
What we did, okay, when we knew that we were given this project to design, build, validate, and make a product in less than 3 years, we looked at who all the players are and who we felt could really deliver us the product and get us through validation.
That led us to Emerson as our choice for the system to operate the plant.
And thank God we did, because for us to have done this in less than 3 years with a control system and have it validated, pretty phenomenal.
Emerson Process Management brought world-class automation technology and expertise to the project. Abgenix and Emerson first formed a solid team to design strategies aimed at shortening the project timeline. It all began with project management.
We had a very aggressive timeline, but we had a very, very talented group of people that we worked with from Emerson. And they were really good at finding out, well, what is it actually that you want?
Effective project management meant several things in this project. It meant really understanding Abgenix's schedule down to a very detailed level so that we could make sure that we were delivering the products just in time, so that they were never waiting on our software or hardware. Everything happened in parallel. There was not a lot of work that happened in a serial fashion because of our timelines. And in fact, we got started on most of the design and the functionality of what we wanted from the system purely by interviews and discussions. There was very little paperwork up front.
We didn't have to explain biotech. They had an idea of what the tanks needed to do, what a CIP system needed to do, what some of the more specific bioreactors, chromatography units, TFF units needed to do, and that helped a lot. We were kind of reassured because we felt so comfortable that the Emerson part would come together that we knew, as long as the valve was there, as long as the pH meter was there, as long as the fluid meter was there, Emerson would find a way to make it communicate and work all together.
They were able to prompt us with a lot of different questions, and a lot of very good questions that can only come through experience. There was a clear project lead that we had the majority of our interactions with. But when it came down to different areas or some of the real specific nuts and bolts types of things, we had a single point of contact or one person that was running that phase of the project.
I like the way I got good updates from the project manager at Emerson on the cost, how much money we were spending, where the hours were going, and where the schedule was.
Another powerful Emerson strategy for reducing project timelines is the field-proven plant web architecture with the Delta V digital automation system and bus technologies.
We wanted something that was proven, known, the regulatory agencies had seen before, and that was flexible and also would allow us to run the facility in an efficient fashion and collect the data and information we needed to collect.
We had solid Delta V standards that we brought with us, solid personnel that understood their process, and those two things brought to their side gave them confidence that we could do the job for them.
Essentially, we always came down to the thought that if the equipment from a hardware standpoint could function in any manner that you could think of, Delta V could automate it.
Their startup time and their time to install wiring and things was cut down. Checkout was reduced, and allowed us to do a better job of doing configuration for them. We had very little rework from a commissioning standpoint, and very little rework from a testing standpoint since we went with bus technology.
The timing, it's always critical, and you asked me about, okay, did we meet all the timelines that we had to? We did, and it's because we made the right decisions. We took equipment that was standard, off the shelf. We took the Emerson Delta V. We didn't want to customize it. Those are all critical decisions, and it helped us meet our schedule.
Reduce the amount of wiring that we had to run out in the plant. Using foundation field bus commissioning was easy. The guys did a good job of building the system, and it's just a cool system. Like I said, I love my Delta V system.
Simulating the automation before commissioning also saved Abgenix time while giving their operators better insight into their process.
And so it really gave us the opportunity to evaluate the automation and learn the Delta V system even before we had a tank in the building.
I could run the Wi-Fi system, or I could run a bioreactor, or I could run a chromatography skid, or a TFF skid. I could load buffer prep tanks and transfer them over to buffer hold tanks. We qualified our software off-site, we tested it, brought it to site, put it on, and ran it. I mean, that's just how simple it was.
Like most of the world's top pharmaceutical companies, Abgenix turned to Delta V batch software for its ease of use and time-saving capabilities.
The batch executive and the way Delta V works and is set up to execute batches and administer batches has worked very well for us. It's very user-friendly. It's easily traceable from a batch-to-batch standpoint.
Having worked with some other systems in the past, they didn't have that same flexibility that I'm seeing in Delta V right now. Because we're able to go in and create a recipe, on the fly in a day, almost.
With minimal training, our operators can be running the bioreactors. Once they start a batch, it will walk you through all the steps that you need to know. And when you need to enter information, it will prompt you for that information.
The very fact that it can track every valve, every instrument, everything that we've configured into the system and provide continuous trending is incredibly important. But the other piece to that is how user-friendly that trending really is.
Emerson's expertise in documentation allowed them to deliver strategies that were used to go straight into validation, achieving certification and timeline goals at the same time.
We really worked closely with them to put together functional requirements that would easily flow into the Delta V configuration and subsequently flow into developing efficient test protocols and ultimately provide the plant with the documentation they would need to make this Delta V system a validatable system for them.
I think what we drew upon was actually Emerson's ability, because you've gone through the rigors of validation, you know what the clients are looking for. So it's that perfect blend of the right amount of documentation. That's what helped us.
Abgenix relied on Emerson's leadership in process control technology. But equally important, the company relied on its partnership with Emerson's people.
I guess we were chosen for our technology, but, technology is no good unless you have people that can apply it. So, a big part of this project was the people.
It was a very good team. There was no real dividing line between Abgenix and the Emerson team. I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but it really was.
Part of the biggest reason I think it was such a success was the fact that Delta V came through when we needed it. And I think a big piece of that was the guys we worked with in St. Louis were just incredible.
Once again, Emerson Process Management brought together world-class technology, engineering, industry expertise, and project management to create powerful solutions for their customer. And the Abgenix team got the results they were looking for as an antibody therapeutics company with a full set of drug development capabilities.
I definitely feel that it's amazing that we actually got the thing done based on our timelines. I was a little skeptical that we were going to be able to do that, even given a very, very talented group on the other side.
I have to say, things went extremely well. Much better than I thought they were going to go. The bioreactors were, I thought, a phenomenal success.
We have potentially the most state-of-the-art facility currently in production from a hardware standpoint, equipment standpoint, personnel, process, and certainly automation. So it's a showpiece for us, not only internally but to a lot of other companies who we work with in the industry.
You can do great research, okay, but the name of the game is you need to take that research, turn it into a product you can sell, and bring revenue back to the company.
Because we were able to bring the building up so quickly and so reliably, we were able to start using it years sooner than your average biotech bulk facility project. So where most companies talk about 5 to 7 years from start of project to operation, we were able to do that in just over 3 years.
So the automation system being extremely reliable, having it be state-of-the-art, having it be flexible enough to work with a lot of different companies and their different needs is very, very important from a business standpoint.